The summer. Months of freedom and fun ahead of you, seemingly endless and full of promise. Yet as an athlete, it's all too easy to fall into the trap of treating summer as a time to relax, unwind, and let your training slide. Before you know it, the start of the new season rolls around and you find yourself lagging behind, struggling to regain your form, or worse, further back than where you left off the previous season. It's a scenario many athletes are all too familiar with, a wasted summer leading to a disappointing start to the new campaign. But here's the truth, it doesn't have to be this way. By taking a more strategic approach to your summer, you can set yourself up for success and come back stronger, fitter, and more prepared than ever before. You can arrive at the first session of preseason 10 steps ahead of everyone else. So in this video, I'll show you how to turn your summer from a potential setback into a game-changing opportunity. There are 4 things that you must do in order to leverage this time period for your benefit. And each one, when combined together, will completely revolutionize your impact as an athlete. So let's get started. Ever notice how easy it is to let days slip away during the summer? You've got anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks off from your sport, as well as school and college, and the first 2 weeks go by at a nice pace. You're just chilling and enjoying yourself. And then bam, summer's over in a flash. Why? Well, without the structure of your usual training and competition schedule, it's all too tempting to just laze around, telling yourself, I've got all day, I'll do some practice later. But here's the truth. Without a solid plan in place, that later never comes, leading to inconsistency and missed opportunities for growth. How many times in the past have you blinked and a whole day of summer is gone? You've slept in, got caught in a loop of watching 6 episodes of the same show, or spent 5 hours playing video games without a break. And then when you finally realize, oh, I need to go do some training or head to the gym, it's too late in the day. Or it's the hottest point of the day, so you put it off and you think, right, I'll wake up early tomorrow and make sure I train first thing. But then a friend calls, you go out with them, you stay up till 2 in the morning, and the same wasteful cycle happens every single day. That's why tip number 1 is to have military level structure. By creating a full schedule and timetable for your summer, you're not just making a list of things to do, you're committing to a level of discipline and accountability that can propel your training to new heights. In the military, every single hour, minute, and second of the day is accounted for. There is complete order and structure. That's what makes them efficient. That's what makes them effective. And as much as it may seem extreme, you need the same for your summer if you don't want to waste it. The other day, I had a coaching session with an athlete of mine who wanted to develop his own optimal routine so that he could crush his summer. And this is what we came up with. Wake up at 4 a.m. And this was his choice, by the way. You can wake up whenever you want, but it has to be consistent, even on weekends. He then spends some time reading his Bible before having breakfast and getting ready for the day. He then has 3 football sessions throughout the day. 1 at home working on his general bulwark, a 1-to-1 session with a coach, and then 1 more session out on his own or playing a pickup game with other people. In between those sessions, there's also a gym session, and he also schedules in his refueling and recovery routines before heading to bed at 8 p.m. Is this extreme? Yes. But this is someone who wants to play at the highest level. If he follows that routine for 6 weeks, he can get more done than a lot of athletes do in 3 months. So find your own optimal schedule, something that is sustainable, but something that does push you. Because if you're not at the level that you want to be, then the summer is literally a golden time period to correct that. Sure, the first week or 2 of summer, you may completely rest, but then it's up to you to be intentional and focused on how you're really going to spend your days. Ask yourself what will be required in order to make you feel as though you're making progress and not just wasting time. But what actually allows you to stick to this schedule? It's one thing carving it out. How do you actually ensure that you don't get tempted by the freedom and fun that summer offers? Well, tip 2 is to establish boundaries. Once again, it's very easy to get caught up in the minefield of distractions and temptations that everyone else is engaging in over the summer. Whether it's endless scrolling on social media, constant invitations to hang out with friends or go to parties, or temptation of Netflix marathons, staying focused can sometimes feel like an uphill battle. And look, you don't want to be the square or the boring one, I get that. But the truth is, you kind of have to be that if you're to seize the opportunity of the summer. And so you need to have a few clear boundaries written out that you can turn to whenever you feel certain temptations creeping in. And these can be to abstain from certain things completely, or boundaries that allow you to be just a bit more intentional about engaging in fun things within moderation. So say, for example, you know you're someone who can easily get addicted to video games in the summer. You need to decide whether the boundary is no video games until the weekend or no video games until all my training is done for the day, etc. Because summer is still a time to have fun and unwind. We all need that. But we have to be disciplined with this. We can go to the party, but we need to set the boundary of leaving no later than 10 p.m. Or we can watch our favorite show, but we limit it to just 1 episode a day. So to help with this one, just ask yourself, what are the things I typically struggle to say no to? And then after you've identified this, follow that up with what is a healthy boundary for each of these things that will not derail my progress. And you may may want to put these written boundaries up on your wall so that you see them every morning as a reminder. And you may also want to actually schedule these things into your schedule that you set in the previous step, so you can condition your mind to know that, okay, 4 to 5 p.m. is video game time, but that's it. To help you stick to these boundaries, you may be interested in joining the waitlist for my peak performance community, The Arena. Here you'll be held accountable by other high performers from around the world and get to experience group coaching and live Q&As led by me. So check that out in the description below if you're interested. And then moving on from these boundaries, the next thing you also want to do to ensure that you see summer is to break training boundaries. So what I mean by this is that summer is a great opportunity to reinvent yourself as an athlete. And that often comes with some experimentation or re-establishing the goalposts of what success actually looks like for you in training and performance. It's a time to get out of your comfort zone and push yourself to a new baseline of intensity or difficulty in how you actually go about your craft. So if you're a footballer, you may spend 2 weeks of training only using your weaker foot so that you're actually sufficiently competent with it. Same with basketball players who could practice their dribbling and ball handling skills with only their weaker hand for a week or two. Or if you're a runner, you may try a completely new type of interval session that you've never actually experienced, one that you've heard from other people is known for making runners want to throw up. The point is to be creative and set a challenge that is difficult, because this can avoid the complacency and even the lack of effort that sometimes seeps into summer practice. If you just stick to the same type of training that you do all year round, you'll quickly get bored. So you need to break those typical training boundaries in order to secure a new level of interest and challenge, because that's what keeps you motivated and engaged. The best way of doing this will vary massively depending on your sport and even your position if you play a team sport, but just ask yourself, what training drill, routine, or session would make me somewhat uncomfortable? Doing this will ensure that you are entering the growth zone of skill development or fitness improvement, so that when you rock up to your first official performance of the new season, you're like a brand new athlete in some ways. And that growth zone is one that you want to try and stay in as much as possible during the summer in various different aspects of improving your performance. And so that's why tip 4 is to learn one new thing a day. When you have weeks on end of training, it's very easy to feel as though it's Groundhog Day, that the days just all blur into one. They are mundane and not actually that exciting. So to inject a little bit more excitement through this time period, it's a great idea to commit to a daily learning challenge. And this can literally be anything related to improving yourself, your performance, or even your long-term career chances. For example, you may have the goal of one day playing your sport abroad. So if you want to play in Italy, then spend 15 minutes a day learning some Italian. Immersing yourself in that language and culture makes that far-off dream feel that extra bit more realistic, and in turn can increase your motivation to keep training hard day in, day out throughout the rest of the summer. Or you may want to better understand how your favorite players and role models carved out their own pathway to the top. In that case, read at least a chapter a day of their autobiography. You can learn about all the obstacles that they had to overcome so that you have a clear idea of how to navigate them as and when you face them. From a psychological standpoint, this daily commitment to learning keeps your mind engaged and active, therefore preventing boredom and burnout. It stimulates curiosity, creativity, and a growth mindset, all essential qualities for success both on and off the field. And just think about it, how many people do you catch up with over the summer and ask them, oh, what have you been getting up to? And they'll just say, not much. And they literally mean it. They've been doing nothing to further themselves in any shape or form. They just end up chilling for 6 or 8 weeks with absolutely nothing to show for it. If you spend even 30 minutes a day learning something new, you've built the habit of continuous learning. And if you end up sticking to this habit, then over the course of a few years, it leads to exponential growth in both your career and life. The very best athletes in every sport imaginable are learning machines. They are always hungry for new information on literally anything that can maximize their performance. It's what allows them to keep evolving their game and sustain peak performance season after season after season. So the summer is a golden opportunity to build up this trait and characteristic yourself. It will really set you apart from the competition and ensure that you give yourself the best chance of dominating in your new season. But how do you ensure that everything you learn and do throughout the summer is actually worth it? Well, you need to get into the habit of regular journaling. And to help you do this, you should watch this video next.